Now, this is with respect to cases of women escaping with their children from abusive marriages, abusive NRI marriages that come to the fore each given day as per reported. In many of these cases, Indian courts rule to send the mother and the child back to that abusive home. The Supreme Court of India now has allowed a woman and her child the right to live in the country of their choice, overturning a Delhi High Court ruling against them. And this, without doubt, has set a new precedence to fight child custody battles in India. Our correspondent Milan Sharma with this report.
Abuse, violence and torture. This was what Nitya was subjected to before she decided to return to India with her daughter from the United Kingdom in 2015. The child, born in the UK, is a British citizen, which led the father to file a custody plea in the UK and the Delhi High Court.
I returned because I have a history of abuse due to my partner in the past, in the tenure of my marriage. And I was seeing that it was increasingly affecting my daughter, which I could not tolerate as a parent, which is, so I had two options, flight or fight. And I didn't have the means to fight because I wasn't allowed to continue my career as I got no support from my husband.
Nitya was shaken at the thought of her child being sent back to the UK, but also at the thought of having to live with her abuser again for the sake of her child.
Delhi High Court basically told me that I should return to the UK with my daughter, so it supported the UK's wardship petition, which is what the UK court's order was as well. Or it said if I want to go, then I should send my daughter with my husband, which could have never been the case because my daughter is too young. She has witnessed countless incidents of abuse by him and she is terrorized by him. So I challenged it further in the Supreme Court because I still had some hopes of getting justice.
The country's apex court came to her rescue. The Supreme Court did not only uphold the welfare of the child, but also the mother's right to stay in India and not go back. But this is not the case with many women, who in previous cases have been asked to go back to face their abusers.
Obviously, if the child goes back, the mother, who is the primary caregiver, per force is also going to go back. Nitya's case has been a huge paradigm shift because after a long time there was this trend of returning in accordance to what is called the comity of courts. So if you have taken the child away from one jurisdiction, the effort of this court is to return the child to their jurisdiction. But the Supreme Court has now said comity of courts does not prevail over the welfare principle.
Nitya is glad that the apex court overturned the Delhi High Court judgment, or else she would have lost her child. She now hopes the government would put in place a fast-track court for such cases.
Many women end up fleeing from domestic violence, running away with their children and coming back to India to escape the kind of atrocities that they face. In this case, the Supreme Court has upheld the mother's right to stay with her child, calling her a primary caregiver and also looking at the welfare of the child. The woman can now fight her custody battles in India and does not have to go back to the country to face her partner and fight the battles there, as many of these women are financially disempowered and are living in isolation.